Well, coming up tonight, Penny Wong's calls for de-escalation in the war between Israel and Iran have been described as naive. Israel's ambassador to Australia slammed the Foreign Minister after she went on the ABC's Insiders this morning, calling for restraint on all sides. Take a look.
I directly put to the Iranian Foreign Minister, we are saying to you, exercise restraint, return to diplomacy and dialogue, because continuing to escalate this has consequences for all peoples of the region. And I think that is a position that so many countries in the world are putting to not only the Iranians but also to the Israelis.
Israel's ambassador Amir Maimon released a statement earlier today saying, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has confirmed he's managed to secure a meeting with US President Donald Trump. That's actually not the statement that Amir Maimon said, but he was essentially criticising Penny Wong for calling for de-escalation in the region. He said, history has shown what happens when the world ignores regimes that preach hatred, promise annihilation, and are left to build the means to carry it out. Iran isn't hiding its intent, it declares it, and it's building the weapons to fulfill it. Through its pursuit of nuclear arms, Iran has turned this into an asymmetric conflict between a democracy seeking to defend itself and a regime bent on destruction. Yet some still urge diplomacy, as if words can stop warheads. This is how the conflict began. Israel cannot afford the illusion that existential threats are empty words. We have a duty to act to protect our people.
And he's absolutely right. For Penny Wong to go on Insiders this morning and call for de-escalation is to completely misunderstand what's happening here. You've got the Iranian leadership who have repeatedly said for years now they are dedicated to the destruction of Israel, and if they get a nuclear bomb, they'll have the ability to do it. So Israel were always going to have to take action. The question I would have for Penny Wong is, how long do you chat? How long do you keep diplomacy going before... Do you keep it going until they've got a bomb? Clearly, Israel cannot afford to do that. And so they've taken the opportunity to get rid of the threat. The other question I'd have for Penny Wong, Freya, is what would she do if Australia was in this situation? How long would the Albanese government go to diplomacy if we had enemies threatening to eradicate us from the planet?
Exactly.
It's very easy to sit on the other side of the world and call for diplomacy and more talk. As well, we already know that Penny Wong is not especially favourable to anything Israel does in their own defence. So I think these comments, to say it's naive, I think the ambassador to Australia from Israel is being rather kind.
Yes, no, exactly. Israel is doing the world a favour. Iran is the head of the octopus of terror in the Middle East, and its tentacles are hurting not only Israel, but the world through the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, permanently destabilising the region. And I think the point that the ambassador made, that when a country expresses the desire to annihilate you, you take them seriously. That is extremely important, because Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong, we see this in their approach with China as well. Doesn't matter what China says, doesn't matter what the ideological position is that we know those foreign actors hold, they still seem to live in this la-la land where somehow negotiation and the international rules-based order will prevail. No, it won't. And also the idea that you can negotiate with what is essentially a terrorist regime is in and of itself absurd. They have broken every nuclear deal. They are enriching weapons that they shouldn't. And so it's like, well, you can't negotiate with terrorists, so why would you try negotiating with Iran?
Well, I mean, they were in the middle of negotiations with Donald Trump, who'd given them fair warning. If these negotiations fail, then all bets are off. The other thing Penny Wong said on Insiders this morning was she repeated Australia's new commitment to a two-state solution, not when peace is achieved, but as a pathway to peace, which is nothing more than an encouragement to groups like Hamas to keep doing what they're doing, because countries like Australia are changing their stance to be more favourable to give up land to Palestinians.
Exactly.
And so it begs the question, are there any terrorists that the Albanese government doesn't want to talk to?
Exactly. No, that is genuinely the question. And what kind of message does it send? It sends the message that the West is weak, and that is dangerous for everyone.